Welcome back to the Chi podcast. This is Jeremy C. And basically, I'm wanting to go into the dynamics of discipline, routine, and how small incremental changes are what give you the best results. So, a bit of a podcast coming off my own experience lately of coming back from overseas and realizing when you have that consistency and stability, how much you can start to fine tune things. And it's really interesting for me, having tried to create routine while traveling. And I'm realizing how much it's important to have a baseline of certain practices that you have kind of anchored in or have become unconscious competence, so that you can put them on autopilot, and then you can actually start working on the things that you want to implement going forward. Because it requires a lot of energy, the more things that are in a conscious effort stage. And it really highlighted to me, for example, recently I've made it an intention to do 10,000 steps per day. And then once I was doing that for 2 weeks, I then didn't have to concentrate on it, and pretty much on autopilot, I'm hitting near that mark, which also goes to speak to the effectiveness of training the body, because ultimately patterns run our life in so many ways, and physical activity is such an important reflection of that. For example, there's been times where I've been quite active. My body's wanted to move because of that, because the set point of my activities has been at an active level. I'm not sure if you've ever seen the charts which show sedentary to active, but basically imagine the needle was at active. And then I went and worked away, and I was driving a truck for 12 hours a day, 14 days in a row. My body wanted to move so much. I was literally bouncing around in the truck and like doing pull-ups off the side of it, like trying to bring myself up to the level that my body was used to moving. And say for that first 4 to 6 weeks, it was really uncomfortable not being able to do the typical level of activity that I would. And then after 4 to 6 weeks, I became used to it. So the needle moved from active down to sedentary. And then I didn't feel like moving. And then when I was trying to do exercise after ceasing that job, it was so much effort. And so it was discomforting going from active to sedentary. And I would argue more discomforting going from sedentary back to active. And yeah, I really think it's so crucial to be aware that what we choose to do in a day is kind of sending a vote towards how our body's going to behave in the future. If you spend 3/4 of your day being active and you do that for the next 2 weeks, you're going to feel like being active 3/4 of the day. So doing that, I realized I can put the step count on the back burner now. And now I can just focus on what I'm eating, tweaking that. I've got a baseline default meals that works for me. And then now I can start adding a bit of flavor into it. I can start making maybe a little bit more nutrition. For example, once you get your calories matching to the level that you want, whether it's a surplus for gaining muscle, maintenance just to keep going as you are, a deficit to lose some body weight, hopefully fat, then after you've got the calories covered, you can start looking at the macros. Because while it doesn't matter, there may be an optimal ratio that you find works best for you. For me, a little less on the carbs, or at least can measure it to the amount of activity that I'm doing. Protein at a moderate level, I know that my kidneys aren't in maybe the most optimal state. They can handle it, but I still want to be respectful of where they're at and not put them under too much strain. And fats, for me, probably between 60 and 80 grams is optimal. And then beyond that, you can start looking at saturated fat, etc. Going down a bit of a rabbit hole here, but I just wanted to really highlight once you have, your first constraint, your first thing that needs the most attention dialed in, then you can start looking at the fine tuning. And it's when you anchor it in that main thing that's not giving you the results that you need right now, then it can unlock the higher levels of fine tuning. And so I guess I just wanted to really reiterate this point for my audience and for myself, just to, yeah, I guess encapsulate the experience and the concept that I've been going through at the moment. So a bit of a short one today. And yeah, hopefully that has sparked a little bit of awareness around the patterns in your life. And maybe drop me a comment and let me know what you're working on at the moment, because I would find it really interesting to see, are we collectively going through similar patterns at this moment? So drop me a comment and let me know what it is you're working on, what pattern you're focused on at the moment, or what is your number one constraint? What's the thing that you need to focus on to get you where you want to be?